how should the industry deal with such an opportunity or a threat, as you feel?
Thank you. I think it's a very pertinent question, and let me actually set the context to this slightly wider than where we are, because a lot of we heard this morning also about win-win. I think our problem starts there. Win-win is an inadequate concept because everybody has realized that win-lose deteriorates into lose-lose, so win-win is necessary. But that it is such an inadequate context uh, as a concept, if you look at it at the whole world's industry since the Industrial Revolution has colluded with the whole world's consumers to produce cheap goods, to make cheap things available. So it has been a complete win-win if you really look at last 300 years. But we forgot the third win. Just like win-lose is not sustainable and it becomes lose-lose, win-win-lose also deteriorates into lose-lose-lose. And this is exactly what has happened to the whole world, where the climate change has been a direct consequence of the win-win between the world's producers and consumers. And unless and until we take care of this third win, this is going to deteriorate into lose-lose-lose. We are already facing the consequences of that. Whether in terms of health, in terms of the air we breathe, it's ridiculous to see that there are air kiosks in Delhi where 299 rupees an hour you can breathe oxygen. This is where we have come up to. So of course it is a challenge. Of course it is a threat. But out of the challenge or the threat comes out the opportunity. I also believe uh, that steel and cement, the two most notorious industry for contributing to global warming, are also potentially the society's problem solvers. In fact, all the discussion that has been there around usage of pozzolanic material, whether it is slag or fly ash or any other waste material, there is a big opportunity there. Unfortunately, this opportunity is not being tackled the way carbon dioxide emission is being tackled. And there is a possibility to deal with this in a manner that we can do it better than what carbon trading has been able to do. In fact, I was working with Swansea University on the subject, and I had proposed that just like we have the concept of a Bitcoin, there can be a potential green coin created from the blockchains that we that we create from the waste cycles. If you look at the nature shows you that you are able to uh, very readily use someone's waste is someone's food. Industry is absolutely alike. And we know it in cement industry more than anybody else that it is so much. That our alternate fuel is somebody's waste, but it is a substitute for fossil fuel. But what has not been done systematically is that we have not created a worldwide ledger in the same way as blockchains are created, where the entire mass balance, no mass is getting created or destroyed. On that basis, the entire mass balance can be put into the blockchains and people can be given opportunity to connect the waste cycles from producers to consumers and be given green coins as a result of that, which can become the world's currency as against the CO2 trading currency that is currently there, which is traded, by the way. So there is an opportunity to create a blockchain-based concept of a green coin, which is completely embedded in the way of production of all the industries, and nobody produces a waste that cannot be consumed by somebody else. And if there are open ends, then the research can be promoted on that, and green coins can be generated on that basis. Any research which gets into consuming a waste loose end should get extra points. Anybody who is the first consumer of that gets extra points, just like Bitcoin becomes more and more difficult to mine as more and more people get into it. Similarly, this kind of a green coin can do. And we can be the world leaders in doing that in India, because we have in our roots, really, the reuse, recycle is in our roots. Chanakya had said in Arthashastra that, हर वस्तु में से जितना संभव हो सके मूल्य निकाल लेना चाहिए. You must exploit the resources to the maximum extent possible. This is in our roots. You don't see people in India throwing away bottles, throwing away jars in which the food comes. The old dalda tins might still exist in somebody's houses. People don't throw away things. That is the culture of this country. But we have not done it at an industrial scale, and we have been looking for policy interventions. What we have not been solving as engineers and scientists or policymakers is to create a platform which is a very simple blockchain-based concept that can actually solve the world's problems and create new opportunities for people to be more responsible towards society, because society is not another stakeholder in business. It is the very purpose of it. This is what J.N. Tata had said 150 years ago, and 29 years having served in Tata Group, I know that how valuable that particular comment is. That it is, we cannot treat society as another stakeholder. It is the very purpose with which the business exists. And if the business is not able to take care of that part of the society, I think the business should not exist.